kept rolling, rolling, rolling. It was going to be a something more lighthearted, as if we've had a dozen cups of coffee, and maybe it caused a little bit of blockage. Okay, this it's similar to the next one. So I was planning on a sit down coffee with some kind of authority figure peer, an authority figure peer. Well, I got out what the laxatives didn't get out 3 days ago. It was just pushing gross sewer water after three laxative pills and about 17 shits in the toilet, shits in the john, and I could still feel there was fecal in there, and I'll explain in a second why it's tough for me. So, but and besides the meds, besides the 4,100 days of antipsychotic sedative prescription medicines, one every 24 hours with its gambles and its side effect. The gamble was sudden death upon 15 minutes of ingestion, or while it's in your bloodstream, it can cause sudden death, and it stays in your bloodstream each dose for 3 months. A maximum strength Vraylar, which I've been on most recent. I switched from risperidone after 3,600 days of risperidone. I switched to Vraylar, and it's been about 500 or 600 days of Vraylar now, maybe a little bit more. Just about 2 years, I think, or maybe going on 2.5 years worth. It was 6 milligram every 24 hours with no breaks for about 2.5 years. For this last half year, I switched down to 4.5s for 1 month, threes for 1 month, and now I've been on 3 days of 1.5s. So you take that, and then you take 90 days, counting from 3 days of 1.5s, working with what I told you backwards to the 6 milligrams, which are still in my bloodstream. So there's that. But besides that, I'm a waist size 28. The overhead pull down weight lifts 1,260 pounds in reps. I weigh 150 pounds. I'm 6 foot tall. My leg press is 780. My bench is 350, and my free weight is 165. So you go through and you get a little bit of blockage, and so you eat some diarrheals, some laxatives, and it doesn't work. And so the next morning he has a seizure and runs to the bodega as soon as he gets cash to get some CBDs, because that stops epileptic grand mals even. Never mind just the shakes and tremors from having a little too much poop in your intestines there. Oh, good. It's not the authorities that I didn't ask for myself, as I'm prepping up speeches so I can sit down and talk with them and explain things person to person. The thing is I don't know the neighbors around, and now it is after 8. All the kids should be at school, so anyone within earshot should be over 18, mature enough to handle, an adult working next to them. So whatever, regardless, what is this? If they were to be eavesdropping, just don't try not to talk back, to someone that ain't speaking to you. So there was that, and then there was, besides the last section I worked on, it was a little bit of a funny. It was the potty humor. Say, like as if you were an ambulance man putting broken bodies back together, but more like body pieces. Like the guy's obviously dead, and you're told to fix him, sort of thing. So they'd look at the poop jokes and says, ha 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 ha. So that's why. Oh, that's why. Okay, okay. Yeah, well, there's the 11-inch penis that when I haven't measured it since I was to 18. I think was the last dick measuring contest I got into at the girly parties, where I was one of the only boys there, and they wanted some action. So it was 11 inches long when I was 17, but since then the testicles have grown from medium chicken to large chicken to duck. They're duck eggs within at least an 11-inch or space for 11 inches. It ain't shrink yet. Not that I can get it up all the way these days. So that's the sad part. And the thing is when you're the boy, you try to push the poopy out, and instead the penis grows a little bit. It's very annoying, and masturbation's not really fun when you're close to 30 years old. Blumpkins, on the other hand, was a rarity in my life, and something I'd rather not go into. And also, we could call this closer to a 5-minute section, as I wanted to go over the fact that bodybuilding, and then making fecal without proper nourishment, without a proper setting, without proper funding, is what it costs. No, that's the thing. He doesn't need hospitalization unless he's like KIA, almost dead, just because he has to make a poopy. You really want to send a medic because he has to make a poopy? Now, if he was passed out, or something like that from trying to poop and he couldn't, um, I could see bring his almost corpse to the hospital. Yeah, I could see that. But making a poopy, what makes make the poopy easier is money. Money for comfort, or money so I can just grow a big old stomach with whatever kind of anything off the, you know, uh, the diet that's pushed on me for this past 4,100 or 200 days. Money means that I just pay my way off the Vralars and get nice cushiony fat instead of talking to a doctor about how, oh, you look like crap, you got a tummy out of here, your waist size 38, you're 280 pounds, you got long hair, you're greasy, you smell bad, your clothes are old. And I go, yeah, but I'm happy. And she goes, yeah, well, you're stoned on risperidone still. You're in a program. You have to stick to the regimen. Now you can be just as strong as you are now, strong as an ox, but down to 150 pounds with a waist size, let's say 30 instead of 38. So I dropped down to 145 with a waist size 28, and I still lift 1,260 pounds in reps as the most, and I weigh 150. I'm 6 foot tall. Yeah, well, besides that, when you're pushing, it's not just the boy piece that might enlarge instead of pushing fecal at the sphincter. It was the skin that changes color. It's the hair that changes color, and it's the eyes that change color. You'd see over my 99 hours on tubes, I've got blonde hair and blue eyes, with black skin, with red skin, with brown hair, with hazel eyes, with green eyes, with purple eyes, with no iris whatsoever, with black hair. And the arm hair is different than the head hair, which is different than the iris, which is different than the skin pigment. Black, white, red, tan, etc. And it's all googly boogly, like I'm caught in puberty still. It's like I'm 17 still, but I'm 30. But I'm not even 30, but I'm almost 30. But I'm falling asleep at 17 and I'm waking up at 30 something, hopefully. So that was the last spit, and it's gonna chime out due to lack of reel or lack of battery. I still have to clean up. Scheduled a haircut today, and don't just send someone over for a coffee with the Bloopers, a town, because you overheard it. I've got to prepare first, and then I'd like to go to them when I'm ready. I mean, unless I've committed a crime. If I've committed a crime that I didn't know about, I wouldn't purposely commit a crime. If I've accidentally committed a crime and they want to talk or whatever, hopefully they're gun free. One thing, and secondly, they could always send a text ahead, or give a call, or stop by. If it's an emergency, they're lifesavers. I trust them. I've got my one liaison officer in town. It was a nameless sugary, and then one my age. Another I'd like to keep nameless, and then a third for city, and then one for state. There was my neighbor, I guess I'll just name them off. There was my neighbor, Liparulo, and then there was the city, Toporowski, and one for town, DuPont, since I was 13. But then the peer I'd like to sit down with, Tid, about my age. And I think I don't know much for county, so there was that. And if the military wanted to get in touch, wouldn't you let them do that first, in case I had accommodations and pin badges from the guard instead of suspicion from the local precinct, say? Well, thank you. I'll be chiming off in about 5 seconds. It's from 8 minutes and 40 seconds at 221.